Hey, all right, welcome back to Raff's Brain, a show about things that are interesting to me. I am your host, Rob Rafferty. Thank you so much for dropping by. I'm on a walk tonight, a little evening walk after dinner, which is great for the digestive system. Yeah. At what age do you start thinking this way? To me, it's like mid to late 40s. Maybe I should have been thinking a little bit more about this as a younger man, but for whatever reason I didn't. Now, I gotta confess, I'm all about getting my steps in, getting my hot yoga on every once in a while, trying to fight that battle, the eternal battle. It's not like a war, right? I mean, it actually, let's just take this, let's draw some parallels here. The battle for fitness, for health, is eternal. It never ends. That's probably why I suck at it. I just want to reach a point where I will feel good about my fitness and health. You know, like I want that to be an achievable moment. It's a target weight. It's a level of performance. In hot yoga or on a 3-mile jog or whatever. But it's elusive, right? It's elusive. Anyway. Nevertheless, I'm out on my little evening walk, which is something I do fairly regularly now, just as a way of decompressing after a day and letting the meal digest a little bit, you know? You move around after a meal, it really does. Just doesn't sit so heavy. It makes you feel a little better, you know? Exactly. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I'm out here on a little walk in my hood, North Arlington, Virginia. And on the way out the door, I got a little text message from one of my inspirations, heroes. You know, there's a lot of different words you could use for this type of person. Anyone that knows me well knows that I'm a big fan of a entrepreneur, social media guru, overall raconteur, Gary Vaynerchuk, aka GaryVee. I got to tell you, I just really admire this guy, what he stands for, what he's building, what he's all about. And I've been following him for a number of years now. I've had a chance to meet him a few times. I won't go down the rabbit hole with you, but the point is, as I'm going on my walk tonight, I got this little note. Hey, I just dropped a new Instagram video. So I watched the Instagram video, and it was Gary leaving what he calls his State of the Union. It was something he started. It's about a 2-minute long video, maybe 2.5, where he's introducing himself, or maybe in a sense reintroducing himself to the world. Now, everyone's got a different perspective on this guy. He's about the same age as I am, 48, 49. But he has a much different life story. Unlike me, he was born abroad in the Soviet Union, Belarus, and he immigrated here with his parents in the late 70s. Grew up in Edison, New Jersey, outside of New York City, and just lived a hard scrabble life, immigrant life, you know, hustle, grind. Had grandparents living in his household. This is a pretty common trajectory for a lot of new Americans. And he managed to scrap his way through and do extraordinarily well. Really hit it big when he's working his dad's liquor store. He always had entrepreneurial instincts, you know, lemonade stands, baseball cards, things like that as a kid. But when he started working at like age 14, he just put so much time and energy into customer service and understanding business in the trenches, you know. And he was able to take his father's wine and liquor store business into a real powerhouse, a real force through the use of e-commerce. He was a pioneer in that space, you know, with email lists and a website and other tools that seem very common today in small business, but back then were thought of as outlandish and crazy. But he's just out there on, pushing boundaries as a pioneer. And his most noteworthy breakthrough was something called Wine Library TV in the early days of YouTube. So it's like 2005 and 6 maybe. He sets up a camera in the basement of the liquor store and starts doing wine reviews with a Jersey style accent, bro, like really kind of democratizing wine. And got some attention, got on Conan O'Brien, I think a couple other shows like that. And yeah, that might have been like a flash in the pan, but it wasn't. It really kind of propelled him into a whole nother trajectory. In his early 30s, he launched a sort of marketing company, independently owned. Is that what they're called? It's not public, it's a private company. But he started it out and just, scrapped his way up. And now VaynerMedia, VaynerX, the holding company for all these different businesses. Don't ask me to understand. Dude, it's a labyrinth. This guy's got his fingers in so many pies. I don't know how he does it. Anyway, he's a huge inspiration for me. And I hope all of you will take a moment to watch this video that he just released, which is his State of the Union. It's kind of like, hey, here's who I am. Here's what I'm about. And it looks like he's going to do one of these videos every year. And he wraps up the video by challenging his audience, in which I include myself, an audience, a fan, an audience member and fan of his work. He's like, you need to drop your own State of the Union video as well. What is your personal statement? What's your vision? What's your ethos? How would you articulate that to the world? And then pin that on your social content so people get to know who you are, what you're about, what's your motives, what are you proud of? So, man, I'm super inspired, and I figured I would just rip off a quick episode of Raff's Brain while I'm on this walk to map that out. This is more like a commitment device for me than anything else. It's the idea that if I push out an episode of Raff's Brain where I announce to the world that I'm going to create my State of the Union address, therefore, once I make that public, I will follow through with it. It's kind of a commitment device. It's tricky. And here's the funny thing. I have very few listeners, right? No one is paying attention to this show, which is completely fine. I do it for fun. I do it for my own kicks at this point. And I'm having a blast with it. I'm like 20 episodes deep. All sorts of content. And, learning every day. But I think I'm going to make a State of the Union video for Raff's Brain. Rob Rafferty / Raff's Brain. What am I about? What am I trying to achieve? What am I proud of? What would I want strangers to know about me? And how could I summarize that in kind of a brief testimonial? Now, his video is pretty flashy. It's obviously super professional. He has a bunch of videographers following him around, capturing content footage. If you don't know GaryVee, you look him up. He's just everywhere, every platform, at scale. He's got teams of people cranking out content. So, naturally, he's going to have a very highly professional-looking video product with, flashy transitions and cool graphics and excellent editing, jump cuts, slow-mo, all that good stuff. I'm not going to go that deep. I guess I could. Now, this is the question, should I? Hey, this is your statement to the world. It's like, for people that might just happen to come across your content, and this is what they're going to see about you. What would you want that to say? What impression do you want to make? Now, I guess suddenly I'm talking myself into the idea that if you're trying to put your best foot forward, maybe that merits a little more investment of time, energy, resources. But I just don't think that's my style. Come on, people. It would be untrue to myself if I was like trying to impress people or kind of present a false front, Like, hey, I invested $1,000 in this crazy sensational sizzle reel about Raff's brain and Rob Rafferty, like Max Headroom style. I'm not going to do that. But I am going to come up with a statement, and I'm going to work on it. I'm going to create something that I can pin to all my social media. I'll call it my State of the Union. And here's the best part. This is almost like sometimes you wonder, the timing of things just happens to work out, work to your advantage. In this case, my birthday's coming up. I've talked about this on previous episodes. I had this ambition to do a live show on my birthday, a performance on YouTube, a live stream, slide deck presentation of some kind. I'm kind of gravitating against that or away from that, mostly because the internet in my house is trash, man. It's very unreliable. And in the experiments that I've conducted on my live streams, I'm all choppy. It just doesn't work. I don't know how I'm going to fix that, because I do eventually want to get into the live stream game. I think there's much to be said for that. Like, for instance, right now, rather than recording this commentary as I'm walking, I could broadcast it live, right? Go on YouTube Live or TikTok or something, and then you'd have the video. You could rip the audio, throw it on a podcast, and you have the potential during your live stream broadcast of engaging some people who happen to be, kind of hanging out on a weeknight. They might get a little notice. Rob Rafferty's going live. They hop in. You could kind of meet people where they're at in a fun way. Have some organic interactions. I don't know. I'm not much of an improv guy. I think I have good sensibilities. I think I actually have a decent sense of humor, but I'm not sharp or witty in the moment. Maybe that's just a mindset I need to overcome. Maybe I need to rethink the way that I, consider my strengths, weaknesses, downsides, upsides. Anyway, the long and the short of it is, I'm probably not going to do a live stream on my birthday. But I am definitely is a funny word, isn't it? I'm probably going to record a fairly extended slide deck presentation that would be the equivalent of a live show. I'd certainly record it live to tape, talking about turning 49 years old, the significance of that, and then using that moment as a broader point of entry into a conversation about, not really a conversation since it's not live, but a reflection about, birthdays. What do they mean? How do we think about them? The hierarchy of birthdays is what I was playing around with. How we think about these defining moments in our life, and no two birthdays are the same, and we don't treat them equally. They're all kind of unique. Some are more forgettable, others are more monumental. I don't know. I'm going to play around with that idea and release this all on my birthday, October 23rd. It's a Wednesday. But, and here's the key, here's where it all comes full circle. With GaryVee's inspiration tonight, this sort of call to action, he literally says in the video, I think everybody should do this. Once a year, you should sit down and map out your State of the Union, and then do that year after year after year. Who are you? What motivates you? What are you most proud of? What do you hope to achieve? Pin that video or commentary and let the world know who you are, what you're about. I got suddenly very motivated by that idea. I think it's right. And I think the fun part for me would be, what if I did that and started a tradition every birthday, every October 23rd, I revisit the State of the Union. This is good for me on two levels. One, it kind of dovetails with the original idea that I already had, right? So I can execute this in a way that is complementary to the existing episode of Raff's Brain that I was going to create and release on my birthday. So it makes sense on that margin. And secondly, it does kind of put out there this sort of, I don't know, I would hesitate to call it iconic, but a kind of exemplary piece of content. And it's just there. Like right now, I don't have anything pinned on my channels, any of my social channels. I just kind of comment or post videos or episodes, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok a little bit. But I'll have a video statement about Rob Rafferty, Raff's Brain. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to attempt to do this because I'm very motivated and I'm calling my shots. How's that sound? I'm calling my shots. Shot caller? Yeah. Yes. I'm very reluctant to do that, by the way. I'm not someone who is very competitive or has confidence to the extent that I really know that I'm going to follow through and do something. I'm going to win. You know? It strikes me as just a tad arrogant. I'm just so... It might be to a fault, but I do pride myself. This is funny. I'm about to say something very contradictory. I think you'll enjoy it. It's kind of fun. Yes, this idea that I am simultaneously humble, yet confident. Is that the word? No. I think it was something like, I pride myself on being extraordinarily humble. That's funny, man. That is the contradiction of Raff's Brain right there. It really is. I pride myself on my humility. Give me a break. That's perfect. I might even have to work that quote into my State of the Union address. Ladies and gentlemen, I pride myself on my humility. I love it. I love it. Oh, man. I will say this. I've done a couple episodes, walk and talk, of Raff's Brain podcast. I'm not sure I'm a fan of it. I don't know if you can hear this, but I am struggling a little bit. Even though I'm only walking. These little slight inclines, little hills around my house, my neighborhood, they're somewhat daunting. And to have a conversation, I'm not even conversing, I'm spewing top of mind commentary. It's not a conversation, right? It's not going back and forth. I'm seriously running out of my breath, man. Oh my gosh. Now, is that a sign, is that indication of my lack of fitness? Probably. Cardio is not great at the moment. But anyway, I thought I would record a quick episode here on this walk, in the moment, in a moment of motivation. Hat tip GaryVee, thank you, sir, for your continued inspiration, honestly. I think this guy knows what he's talking about on so many levels, and I encourage you to check him out. Maybe you'd like him too. Be warned, however, it's not for everybody. His character, his persona, GaryVee, which is sort of an exaggerated version of himself, although he's kind of moderated a lot over the past 5 to 6 years, he still drops F-bombs a lot. He's kind of Jersey bro. His keynotes are just, they make me want to run through a freaking brick wall, dude. I love it. I can't get enough. But I can see why his style might not resonate with everyone. So keep that in mind if you check him out. If you can look past the cursing, if you can look beyond the sort of alpha bro vibe of his content, and you actually focus on the substance of his message, I think you would find it very valuable and useful and potentially even motivational for you as you think about what goals you have in life, what you're trying to accomplish, how you can attack those, how digital media communications can be a tool, an asset in advancing your own ambitions. I think the guy knows what he's up to, and I'm a big fan. So that's what I'm going to do, man. I'm going to record the statement, and I'm going to prep my one-man show / slide deck, and I'm going to launch both those things on my birthday. And you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I haven't done a lot by way of promoting or advertising this podcast product. I might have to shoot out an email to my list. There's like 2,000 people. I don't know how many of those are active anymore. I don't know how many people would open the email if I sent one from MailChimp. But there's something to be said, I think, for just reconnecting with all the folks that I've acquainted over the years, friends, family, contacts, and let them know what I'm up to and say, hey, Raff's Brain is back. This is my vision statement / State of the Union. It's my birthday, and stay tuned for more. Yeah, I might do something like that. Oh boy. I could end the episode now, but I kind of want to riff a little bit on what I will say in my State of the Union. I got to figure that out. It's not obvious to me how I'll do that. Ooh, my sister's calling me. We're going to hit pause here and come right on back in just a few. Hang tight. And we're back. Yeah, that's a fun thing when you're on your evening walk and your sister calls and you got a little bit of a 20-minute distraction there, which is nice. I mean, distraction, that has a negative connotation. It's a pleasant opportunity to connect with my sibling, my one and only sister. So, I think I was talking about my State of the Union address, and I wanted to kind of quickly think through what I include in that. If it's like a 3 to 5 minute statement of purpose, of vision for my life, that's a little intimidating if you start thinking of it too deeply. But we should all be doing that. We should all be thinking a little bit about what are we trying to achieve? What are we doing here on this planet, man? What do you want? What's the point of it all? I'm not just trying to like navel gaze and pontificate. I'm trying to think through on a practical level, like what am I trying to achieve as I turn 49 years old in a few weeks. That's on the freaking precipice, baby, of the half-century club. Whew. That's terrifying. So, there's no better time to get serious about what you want to do with your time that's left. And by the way, none of that time is guaranteed. We all know this. We all ignore this. Again, sort of a duality there that I find frustrating. We are here just for so short period of time. I mean, it's a split second. And if you live in this country, if you were born in America, whatever your circumstances, you won the lottery, man. Like, what are you going to do with that? You going to just be down and dwell and negative and wish for something else? I mean, come on, take control, man. So yes, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I'm going to map out. I don't want to go back. I don't want to look backwards too much, but I think in order to understand where I'm going, I need to define where I've been. So there might be about a minute of this video that says, hey, here's who I am. I think we got to reference West Virginia, Syracuse, DC. That's like the triangle of my life. That's where I've spent my years, formative years in West Virginia, including college, undergrad. 3 years in Syracuse, which I wouldn't trade for anything. very fond memories of that time, even though I'm not a lawyer, which is why I went to Syracuse ostensibly. I am a lawyer technically. There's a lot to unpack there. I'm not going to go deep on that, but I do need to reference it because it's a part of my identity and it's something I reflect on regularly. Frankly, I think a lot about my time up there, very, very much. And then DC, coming to the Hill, working on the Hill, and then for most of my career in the classical liberal movement in various roles and capacities. So I got to kind of define that, and then so what does that mean? Where are you going from there, man? What's that mean as you look forward into the next stage? And I think I'm definitely going to reference my creative ambitions that have always been with me, but only really materialized when digital technology became available. So in the very early 2000s, getting that DVD camera, or DV, what's it called? Mini DV. Oh my gosh, bringing back memories there. Making short films, movies. YouTube comes on the scene. Web series, content. Those are my passions. I've got to really get sharp on that. Hey, storytelling, filmmaking, stand-up comedy, one-man shows. That is what brings me joy. That's what I want to do more of in my life. And that's what I'm committing to. And the podcast, Raff's Brain, that's kind of a small manifestation of it, but far from the apex. I'm just getting started, man. I think that's going to be the key message here. I'm just getting started. I'm 49 years old, and I'm just getting started, dude. And the sky's the limit. Because I do believe I have something interesting to offer the world. You know, you got to believe that about yourself. We're all unique. We all have something. Some special gift, talent, attribute, something we can share with the world to make it a better place. Right? I don't know, maybe that's too pie in the sky. But I want to believe that. And I want to act on it. I don't want to just dwell and contemplate and think about all the ideas that I have. I really want to execute, to make measurable progress on some of these goals. And then I can look back, hopefully, assuming I have a healthy adulthood, like later years, 50 on, I could live another 30, 40, 50 years, man, if I really take care of myself. I got to step it up a notch if that's... I don't know if that's the case right now. Ah, man. But if I could buckle down, get my diet and exercise under control, pursue my passions, really start crushing some of those creative pursuits with reckless abandon and intentionality. Dude, I'm getting pumped up here just thinking about it. Yeah. All right. This has been a great walk. It's been a great walk and talk. I'm looking forward to throwing this episode up. Love to hear your thoughts. I still have that open call line. It's like a Google phone number. I'll drop it in the show notes. I don't know it off the top of my head. But you want to make history. You call and you leave a message. Because no one's called and left a message yet, man. Probably because nobody listens to this show. That's okay. You don't have to listen. I get like 3 to 4 downloads an episode. 2 of them are probably me. Oh, geesh. Well, thank you so much for tuning in for the latest, greatest episode of Raff's Brain. Always a pleasure. Just getting started, my friends. Thank you for being here. Have a great day. See you next time. Bye-bye.